Welcome to another episode of Metal Mastermind. In this video, we're going to show you an easy way to use the circle of fifths for your metal songwriting. Two of the greatest challenges for metal songwriters, and especially if you're a guitar player, is you come up with a riff, but then you don't know what to attach that riff to. You don't know how to expand on that to make it more than just a riff. And then on top of that, let's say you do come up with a progression or you figure out what key the riff is in. That's pretty easy to do. How do you expand beyond that to make it into a complete song, tying different pieces of music together and coming up with different progressions that make sense and fit, like a verse, a chorus, a bridge, and so forth. So one of the most awesome tools you can use to do this is the circle of fifths. Now, if you're like me, I'm a guitar player who never dove really deep into theory. So the first time I saw this, I'm like, whoa, that's scary. I'd stay away. And a lot of you may be thinking the same way. You may see all this like, okay, that just looks like a bunch of notes and chords and such. But don't worry, or if you're a guitar player, I should say don't fret. I'm going to explain this to you in layman's terms. I'm going to break it down to where it's super easy and simple to understand. So let's start out with these notes here on the outer edge. So these are your major chords, okay? Your F, C, G, and so forth. And the inner circle here, these are your minor chords. Now, we're going to come back to the minors because, you know, us metalheads, we love our minor keys. I think most every song I've written that's metal anyway is in a minor key, as with most metal songs. We're coming back to that, but I want to quickly first explain, and I'm going to break out the guitar to show you some examples so you can hear as we go along here. But let's start out with the outer, with our major chords here. So let's pick a C chord, okay? The C, your next note over from that C is going to be your fifth note, hence the circle of fifths, right? So your fifth note from a C is a G. So now what that means, and I'll play this for you, we can fit a G with a C. If we want to play in the key of C, we know a G is going to work with that. Okay, pretty cool, pretty simple. Now, let's go the other way, right? We went from C to G. Well, what's the fifth note if we go the other way, if we go the opposite direction here? Well, if we counted from C, 5 notes in that progression, in that key, if we go backwards, we're going to come up with an F. Okay, so let's hear what that sounds like. So easily we have 3 chords already. We're playing in the key of C. We've decided to write a song in the key of C. We've got the C, we've got the G, and we've got the F. We've got these 3 chords that we know for a fact will work with one another. They're within that circle of fifths on both sides, okay? And that's how we figured that out. Now, you can essentially apply this to every chord in the major outer edge here, right? For example, we'll go through one more major example here. If I want to play a song, let's say in the key of E, not E minor. I know a lot of us metalheads, we play in E minor, which is great, but let's pick the key of E, okay? E major here. So if I go one way, okay, I'm going to come up with a B as my fifth note. If I go the other way, I'm going to come up with an A as my fifth note, right? So I know that if I want to play in the key of E major here, I can also play a B, I can also play an A. All right, now it's time to travel over to the darker side of music, and that's our minor chords. This is where things get really cool. All right, so the minors that you see here in the inner circle, they are the corresponding note or chord rather to what you see in the major section. And that's why we have these little things that look like pies here, which speaking of pie, I'm kind of hungry now. Anyway, so we've got these little pies to tell you which notes, or which chords rather, correspond with one another. So if we go back to where we started with a C chord, what's our corresponding minor chord to that? Well, it's A minor, okay? So now there's a cool thing that we're gonna do with all 6 of these notes. We're gonna get there, okay? But first, let's just carry over the concept that we did with the major chords. We said if we use a C, well, our next note is a G, so we can use those chords together. If we go back, it's an F, so we know we can use C with G and C with F here. Same thing with your minors, right? You've got this A minor here. What's your next chord over? It's an E minor. So now we know we can play an E minor with the A minor. If we're going to play in the key of A minor, we can use that E minor. Let's go back a step. We can also use a D minor with that. So right there, we've got, well, wow, we've got 3 minor chords that we can use together. That's pretty cool. That's going to be a pretty dark metal song. So let's just fool around with these real quick. Let me share an example with you. Here's where it gets really interesting, okay? Before I said these are the corresponding notes, right? So we're writing a song in the key of A minor here, okay? We know we can use these other minor keys here. Well, guess what? This corresponds with C. So we also know that if we're playing in A minor, we can also play a C, and that's going to work. So now we've just expanded everything, right? We've got A minor, we've also got E minor, D minor that we can play here, right? But we've also got a C. Guess what? We can use that C with the notes that are side by side, or the chords rather that are side by side, which is a G and an F. What we just did here, we just came up with 6 chords that we can play together, okay, in the same progression. And I'm trying to make a new line just so we can kind of see that, but you see what I'm saying here, right? We've got A minor, we're in the key of A minor here. We determined that. We know we can play E minor, D minor. Okay, those are the notes, those are the chords right next to the A minor here. So those fit together, right? These all fit together. We can also play the corresponding chord of the A minor, which is a C, which means we can also play these chords that are right beside that C. So we've got 6 chords that we can play together just by using this simple strategy, using the circle of fifths, using my simplified strategy rather. So let's go back to the guitar. Let's see what we can come up with using all this together. As you just heard, just using those 6 chords, we can come up with so many different possibilities. We can come up with so many different progressions, and we can create riffs based on that chord progression of A minor using all 6 of those chords. Now, the same thing would happen if you wanted to play in the key of C, for example, okay? Playing in the key of C, you can play, of course, the G and the F. You can also play these minors. All of that's going to work in the key of C there, which again, that's why that's the corresponding minor, these two chords, they fit together, okay? Now let's expand a little further here, because I want to go into a key that maybe us metal musicians and metal songwriters don't always use. And I actually encourage you to try writing some songs in different keys so that every song's not in the same key, right? Notice we didn't even touch the key of E minor. We included that because we were playing in C and A minor, but many people will go to that heaviest note possible if you're in standard tuning, but I kind of wanted us to steer away from that. That's easy enough to figure out. If you want to play in E minor, by the way, you see that E minor here, okay? You're just chugging away on that lowest note possible in standard tuning. You know you can also play a B minor and A minor, right? And you know you can also play a G with that, what's the other notes that's attached or that's beside the G? D and C. So there's your 6 notes for playing, or 6 chords rather, for playing in the key of E minor. Done. Easy, okay? But I want to give this last example in a different key. So we talked about E major earlier, right? We talked about this chord right here. So let's look at the corresponding minor, which is C sharp minor. This is a key, if you're in standard tuning, this is a key that you probably don't do a whole lot of songwriting in, right? So let's tackle this. Let's say we want to write a song in the key of C sharp minor. What do we have next to that? What are the chords? What are the minor chords next to that? Well, we've got G sharp minor. We've also got F sharp minor. Okay, those are cool chords that you probably don't think about too often. What does that sound like? Let's hear what that sounds like on guitar. Okay, that was really cool. And if you noticed, and again, we're in standard tuning here, if you notice, by playing chords that we may not usually play, we may not normally play these chords, we may not normally write in these keys, you can hear the different characteristics coming out. Even though we played minors, we played them up here, we played them in a different key down here just now, it just sounds different. It gives a different vibe, and this is an important aspect of songwriting, of metal songwriting, of any songwriting. You want to mess around now and then with different keys to give your music some dynamics, okay? Especially if you're writing an album. You don't want every song in the album to be in the same exact key. Everything's going to sound the same. So again, this is just to encourage you to kind of venture outside of that. All right, now let's talk about the major chords that are in the key of C sharp minor. What do we have? Well, we know we have E, because that's what we started with, right? C sharp minor, E. Those correspond. So we also have a B that's attached to the E and an A. You see? Now we've got 6 notes again right here in a completely different key. So we've got C sharp, and I'm going to play this for you. We've got C sharp minor, that goes with F sharp minor and G sharp minor. We've also got the E that goes with A and B, so all this can work together. All 6 chords can work together. Let's see, or hear rather, what we can come up with. Now, if you enjoyed what you learned today, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Please do that now to support Metal Mastermind. Also, I want to let you know that we go into much deeper detail in not only the circle of fifths, but also music theory, as well as the layman terms perspective of metal songwriting in our course, Metal Songwriters Forge. There is a link in the description of this video to get into that course. So definitely check that out if you're serious about progressing in your songwriting and getting over those humps and getting rid of that writer's block that we all face. The material that we have in Metal Songwriters Forge is going to just help you break through all of that, just simplify the process, and I think it's really going to help you with your songwriting and bring out more of that originality that's already within you. So grab that. There's a link again in the description of this YouTube video. And folks, please leave us any questions that you might have about the circle of fifths. You know, again, we just gave you kind of the easy, simplified version on how to perceive this, and more so how to relate it to your actual songwriting so that you can use it. And again, this is just a real simple way of tackling, okay, well, this is the key that I'm in. What chords can I play with that? Okay, here they are. Real simple, okay? And by the way, in the course I was telling you about earlier, we actually have a music theory book, like an entire, it's almost like a textbook that you go into detail in this, and you'll have that page to reference back, okay? So again, definitely pick that up. The link is in the description of this video here. And guys, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting our channel. Again, leave us any questions you might have. Let us know if this helped you or not, and we'll see you on the next Metal Mastermind video.